Oh man, they thought numbers meant power, but nah. One man flipped the script, shattered illusions, broke the chain. They came crawling with tricks, whispers, shadows. But you stood tall, unshaken, unbothered, unstoppable. Oh wow. Imagine the fear crawling in their chests. Imagine the silence after their noise collapsed, like watching a storm choke on its own thunder. Yeah, they were loud, dramatic, convinced they couldn't fall. But guess what? One strike, one move, one-man army, and the empire of fraud collapsed right in front of their own eyes. The gang of witches, gone. Their schemes, burned. Their confidence, shattered into dust. Now tell me, what's scarier? Losing a fight in the open, or realizing deep down that no matter how many stand together, one sharpened will can erase them all? They thought fear was a weapon. But fear, my friend, fear became their confession. Do you hear that? The silence. Not the peaceful kind. No, this one crawls under your skin, scratching, clawing, pulling at your nerves until you realize it isn't silence at all. It's the sound of something missing. The noise is gone. Their curses, their chants, their poisonous laughter, gone. And all that remains is you, standing there breathing steady, heartbeat calm, eyes locked like fire in the shadows. One man, one frame, one unbreakable will, against a group, against a gang, against a swarm of whispers who swore they could drown you. But look around now. Where are they? The mighty voices? The shrieks and curses? They've scattered like dust in the wind. Oh wow. Isn't it strange how the loudest ones are always the first to vanish when the silence hits? Because here's the truth. They don't want to admit. Fear isn't your weakness. Fear is their mirror. They tried to throw it at you like a weapon. They tried to choke you with it. But fear doesn't crush the one who owns it. Fear crushes the one who creates it and fails. And that failure is painted all over their faces. Yeah, you saw it. The twitch in their eyes, the shake in their voices, the sudden cracks in their mask when they realized you weren't flinching. You weren't running. You weren't breaking. Nah, you were staring right back, steady, silent, unmovable. And silence is louder than any scream when it comes from someone who refuses to bow. They thought numbers would protect them. They thought the gang would make them untouchable. They thought whispers could trap you. But numbers mean nothing when the one standing before you doesn't blink. When the one standing before you doesn't bend. When the one standing before you has already walked through storms alone. Scars carved deep. Discipline etched into every breath. That's the real terror, isn't it? To face a man who doesn't need anyone. To face a man who doesn't crumble when the circle closes in. To face a man who stares into your so-called power and calls it what it really is, a trick. Oh, the irony. They built themselves up as a gang of shadows, believing strength comes from numbers. But the second their shadows collided with your fire, they burned. And what was left? Nothing. Just silence. The kind of silence that screams louder than 1,000 curses. The kind of silence that exposes truth. They were never strong. They were never united. They were never warriors. They were noise. Just noise. And you were the silence that swallowed them. That's why they tremble now. That's why their whispers are weaker, their steps slower, their confidence shattered, because you didn't just defeat them, you exposed them. And exposure is the one wound they cannot heal. But this silence, this eerie, crawling silence, it leaves behind a question, doesn't it? A heavy one. One that gnaws at the edges of your mind even as the dust settles. How? How does the one crush the many? How does one man walk into a circle built to destroy him and walk out untouched, leaving only fear behind? The greatest blade isn't forged in fire, it's forged in solitude. Because the one who walks alone carries a weapon the crowd will never understand. That's the truth. And it burns them. It shatters them. It crawls into their minds like poison because they know they can't copy it. Numbers can be gathered. Tricks can be shared. Noise can be multiplied. But solitude? Discipline. The relentless carving of willpower into the bones, that is a weapon only the one can hold. You didn't crush them with steel. You didn't need smoke or chance. You broke them with something far sharper, yourself. The scars you carry, the storms you endured, the nights where silence was your only companion, those became your arsenal. Oh wow, they never saw it coming because they never lived it. They always needed each other to feel strong. You needed no one. And that emptiness they fear, you filled it with resolve. Yeah, they had numbers. But numbers betray, because the more people stand in a line, the weaker each individual becomes. The responsibility gets diluted. The courage fades. The fear spreads. And when the one steps into that circle, steady and unshaken, the entire line collapses. You proved it. With every step you took, their confidence cracked. With every breath you drew, their curses lost weight. And when you didn't fall, they did. That is the weapon of the one. Not muscles, not tricks, not noise. It's the refusal to surrender when surrender looks inevitable. It's the calm inside the storm. It's the ability to stand in front of a mob that screams destruction and smile. Nah, not the smile of arrogance. The smile of someone who already knows the outcome. The smile of someone who has already survived worse. You see, they cannot understand it. They whisper to themselves asking, how? How does one man defy many? But they will never find the answer, because the answer cannot be taught in circles or gangs. The answer is born in silence, born in scars, born in nights where you are forced to sharpen your soul because nothing else stands beside you. And the moment you unleash that weapon, they broke. Completely. You became something they had no defense against. Their rituals, their schemes, their mockery, none of it mattered when their hearts gave way to fear. And here's the part that stings them the most. It wasn't even a battle of strength. It was a battle of endurance. And you endured. You outlasted them. You proved their foundation was dust. Oh, but let's not pretend the weapon is just survival. No. It's far more vicious than that. The weapon is exposure. When you stood unbroken, you forced them to see themselves for what they were. Weak, frail, dependent. That's the cut that bleeds forever. So now they tremble. Not because you fought them, but because you revealed them. They're haunted by the reality that one man, one shadow, one will, can erase the illusion of many. But this opens the next scar of truth, doesn't it? If one weapon could break them once, what does that say about the gang itself? Noise is not strength. Noise is desperation pretending to be power. It means the gang was never strong. It was only loud. Think about that. They weren't warriors. They weren't giants. They weren't untouchable. They were performers. Every shout, every curse, every wild gesture. It was nothing but theater. A desperate attempt to make you believe in an illusion they themselves could barely hold on to. Oh wow, and the tragic comedy of it all. They actually thought the noise would blind you. They believed volume could replace substance. They thought if enough voices screamed the same lie, the lie would transform into truth. But you saw through it. You always did. And once you see through noise, it becomes pathetic. It becomes a joke. It becomes nothing but air vibrating in the throat of cowards. Yeah, numbers look terrifying from the outside. A gang can surround you, circle you, suffocate you with the illusion of unity. But here's the rot buried beneath. The more bodies there are, the less courage each one carries. Nobody feels responsible when they're lost in a crowd. Nobody feels accountable when the gang takes the blame, and so their courage doesn't multiply. It dissolves. That's the sickness of the many. You pierced that sickness like a blade through paper. You didn't scream back. You didn't beg for mercy. You didn't even flinch. You stood there steady, silent, unshaken, and their noise crashed against you like waves against a cliff. It made them furious. It made them desperate, because the one thing noise cannot defeat is silence. Silence devours noise, swallows it whole, and spits out truth. Nah, their strength was never real. Their unity was a mask. Their circle was a cage they built around themselves, hoping you'd believe it was a fortress. But when you walked into it, when you stood tall inside their so-called stronghold, the mask cracked, the cage bent, and suddenly they realized they weren't trapping you. They were trapped with you. And here's the bitter truth. Once noise fails, panic follows. You saw it. The twitch in their eyes, the hesitation in their steps, the way their voices dropped when their curses stopped landing. That's the unraveling of the many. That's the moment the illusion shatters. Oh, but it doesn't end there. No, because once the illusion is gone, the memory of its collapse haunts them. They can gather again. They can chant louder. They can scream till their throats tear. But deep down in the marrow of their bones, they know the secret. They're weak. They're fragile. They're empty. You didn't just silence them for a moment. You rewired their minds forever. They will never trust their own numbers again. They will never fully believe in their own noise. Because they remember. They remember standing against one man and losing. And now the real terror sets in. If they lost once, what stops them from losing again? If their illusion cracked once, what stops it from shattering the next time? The fear isn't that they lost. The fear is that you proved they can always lose. Which brings us to the next inevitable step. Once noise dies, once illusions collapse, what takes their place? War isn't measured in numbers. It's measured in who refuses to fall first. When the masks are gone, all that's left is war. And war. War strips away illusions faster than anything else. No noise, no costumes, no circles of lies to hide inside, just endurance. Just raw will against will. And in that battlefield, the gang never stood a chance, because their war was painted with noise, while yours was carved with silence. Their war demanded numbers, while yours demanded nothing but resolve. Oh, wow. They thought war was about who shouts the loudest, who surrounds the fastest, who shows the most faces in the fight. But real war isn't about being seen. It's about being unbroken. It's about standing in the fire and not collapsing. It's about refusing to bow even when everything inside you screams to fall. That's what they never understood. That's why they lost before the first strike even landed. Yeah, they launched their war with curses, with gestures, with the confidence of a mob. But you launched yours with silence, with patience, with eyes that never wavered. You turned fear into fuel. You turned pressure into fire. And every step you took was a declaration they could not erase. You will not break. And the moment the one decides not to break, the many are already finished. Nah, this isn't about strength of arms or tricks of the mind. It's about will. Will is heavier than any weapon. Will is sharper than any blade. And your will was untouchable. That's what ripped their chants to pieces. That's what dissolved their numbers into dust. War doesn't bow to numbers. It bows to endurance. And you endured. You see, their kind believes war ends when the crowd screams loud enough. But war doesn't end with screams. War ends with silence. And silence belongs to the one who refuses to fall. You carried that silence like armor. You wielded it like a sword. And when their noise crashed against it, it shattered. Oh, the irony. They believed they were prepared for every strike, every move, every shadow of resistance. But they weren't prepared for stillness. They weren't prepared for a man who stood like a storm wrapped in calm. They weren't prepared for endurance so sharp it cut through their entire illusion of strength. Now they scatter. Now they tremble. Now they whisper in fear of what they faced. Not just you, but the war itself. Because the war didn't expose your weakness. It exposed theirs. And weakness, once revealed, can never be hidden again. And here lies their torment. You don't even have to fight them anymore. The war continues in their minds. Every step you take echoes like thunder in their memory. Every silence you leave behind haunts them louder than their curses ever did. The war is no longer on the battlefield. It's inside their heads. And in that war, they are losing every second of every day. But here's the cruel twist. War ends for the one who endures, but for the defeated, it never ends. It lingers, it festers, it becomes memory, and memory is the sharpest weapon of all. Scars are not wounds. Scars are reminders written in flesh and memory, because scars don't fade. They whisper, and their scars now carry your name. That's the weight of what you left behind. You didn't just defeat them in a moment. You engraved yourself into their history. Every time they close their eyes, they see you standing there. Every time they hear silence, they remember the silence you used to tear their noise apart. And every scar burns the same message. The one can destroy the many. Oh, wow. Imagine the torment. They built themselves on arrogance, on the belief that their circle was unbreakable, their unity untouchable. And yet, here they are, branded by the memory of being crushed by a single force. That memory doesn't heal. It doesn't soften. It spreads like a shadow. And the more they try to bury it, the louder it screams inside them. Yeah, scars whisper. But these scars howl because every attempt to rise again carries the echo of failure. They gather, they plot, they chant louder than before, but under the surface, they are fractured. Suspicion grows among them. Doubt creeps into their voices. Fear leaks from their silence. And you know why? Because they remember the last time. They remember the way their numbers dissolved. They remember the way their curses turned to dust. They remember you. Nah, they'll never admit it out loud. They'll wear masks of confidence. They'll pretend their strength has returned. But deep in the marrow of their bones, they know the truth. Their scars won't let them forget. And truth buried under fear is like fire buried under ashes. It waits, it smolders, it burns again when the wind stirs. That's the punishment you left them with. A scar they cannot escape. A scar that breathes in silence. A scar that whispers at night when the noise fades. A scar that says again and again, you are breakable. You are fragile. You are not what you pretend to be. Oh, and that's worse than defeat. That's worse than losing a fight. That's a sentence without end. Because you see, wounds can heal. Wounds can be hidden. But scars are eternal. They tell the story whether you speak it or not. And their story is this. Once upon a time, a gang thought it was untouchable, and a single man erased them. That story cannot be erased. It cannot be rewritten. It is carved into them, carved into time itself. And now you don't even have to lift a hand. They fight themselves. They battle their own memories. They wrestle with the ghost of what you already proved. You live rent-free in their silence. You stand tall in their nightmares. You've become the whisper they cannot kill. But here's the question that bites harder than any scar. What happens when the memory spreads? What happens when others see what you did? When they realize the many can fall to the one? When they realize noise is fragile and silence is eternal? And now, look at them. Scared to blink, scared to breathe, scared to even whisper your name. Oh wow. The same gang that once laughed, plotted, flexed numbers, broken, crawling in silence. Yeah, the mighty ones folded like paper when the storm hit. And you walked out untouched. Aha. Ever felt like the world's laughing at you? Huh. They all did. But what if I told you one tiny move, one illegal act, could flip everything upside down? Imagine this, the city, the crowd, everyone underestimating you, and suddenly, boom, stick with me. Every second you watch, every thought you catch, could change how you see yourself forever. Yeah, I said forever. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never underestimate your own power again. You'll see why they never saw it coming, and why you are about to rise. And hey, real talk, I see you watching, grinding, dreaming, surviving. Yeah, you, the one no one believed in, this is your moment. Welcome to our channel, Darkness Throne. Your energy, your focus, your fire, I'm giving it a tribute. Respect to every single one of you. Ready to step up? Comment below, share your thoughts. Let the world know you're awake. They didn't see it coming, not the smile, not the eyes that glimmer like shards of broken promises. Every whisper I gave them, they drowned in noise. They thought silence meant weakness. Oh, how wrong they were. I watched them scramble in their tiny worlds, and I smiled, because empires are born in shadows. The post was simple, dangerous, perfect, a single sentence, and everything trembled. The crowd, the city, their rules, all fragile as glass. They panic over the surface, never seeing the cracks deep down. I love that. I thrive there. In the corners where no one dares to look, that's where chaos takes root. That's where I breathe. I feed on the pauses, on the seconds where their hearts skip and their minds race. Every ignored warning, every overlooked glance, every careless word, it's fuel. They think they control the world. I know better. Control is an illusion. Fear is tangible. I hand it to them like candy, sweet, sharp, lingering. And yet they call me mad. They whisper my name like it carries power. It does. Power to expose the fragile skin beneath their smiles. I tear through it slowly, deliberately. Their certainty is a costume. Their pride is a mask. And the first rule of empires is to remind the world how easily it burns. Do you feel it? That pull at the edge of your mind? That itch in your chest you try to ignore? That's the beginning. That's where I start. I don't march. I don't shout. I unsettle. I provoke. I plant seeds of doubt that blossom into panic, and from panic, clarity. Yes, clarity. They are blind. They never saw me coming, but you can. Every empire begins not with swords, not with guns, not with cries. It begins with a thought, a spark. One reckless, unapologetic idea that shatters routine. That's all it takes. One post, one whisper, one look that says you are not ready. And when they finally notice, it's already too late. The stage is mine. The crowd, they are only spectators. And the chaos, that sweet, delicious chaos, it's only just begun. Do you feel it? That tightening in your chest? The one you've ignored for years. That idea you locked away because it was dangerous, because it was too honest, because the world wasn't ready. Oh, it's ready now. You are ready. And when you let it out, everything shifts. One word, one sentence, one action, and the ground beneath them quakes. I whispered it first, a flicker of truth in a sea of lies. They didn't notice at first. Typical. The herd never notices the wolves until it's too late. But then, oh then, the tremors began, eyes widened, voices faltered, the air thickened. Fear isn't loud, it doesn't scream, it creeps in, curling its fingers around their throats. And I let it in. The beauty of speaking what you've buried is watching the reflection of your own courage ignite panic in others. Their calm, their routines, their carefully stacked certainty. It shatters like brittle glass under a hammer. They don't know why they tremble. They can't put a name to the storm. And that's my art. Confusion, revelation, a mix that tastes like power. Do you know the feeling of walking through a city that no longer recognizes you? Their eyes follow you. Their whispers chase you. And you are smiling. Because you've done what they never could. You've claimed your own truth. And the world, the fragile world, reacts, trembles, shifts, breaks. And I am at the center, laughing softly, watching every detail unravel. They will ask themselves, how did it happen? The answer is simple. I spoke. I acted. I existed with the audacity of honesty they lack. That is all it takes. One thought delivered, one boundary crossed, one moment of recognition, and the stage is set. And the crowd, oh the crowd, it cannot look away. It can only watch the inevitable collapse. And here's the secret, the one no one wants to admit. Speaking the thought you buried doesn't just shake the world, it awakens you. It shows you the raw, unfiltered edges of your own mind. The parts you hid, the corners you feared, the chaos you denied, all waiting, all ready. And once you taste that tremor, once you feel that power ripple outward, nothing, and I mean nothing, will ever feel the same. Do you remember who you were before the world decided you were nothing? Before the laughs behind your back became louder than your own heartbeat? Power doesn't appear. It doesn't arrive with permission. It's not borrowed. It lives inside you, buried beneath the years of obedience and compromise. And when you remember, the air itself bends. I remember every slight, every dismissal, every shadow where they told me I didn't belong. I folded at first. I hid. I waited. But nothing stays buried forever. Not the truth. Not the hunger, not the fire that burns when the city sleeps, when the crowd whispers in their fragile nests. And that fire, it ignites, explodes, reminds you that power never left. They will try to scare you. They will try to cage the memory of your own strength. They will laugh, mock, shake their heads. Typical. They don't know what they fear. Not really. Fear isn't of your action. Fear is of your awareness, of the moment you realize you were never powerless. You just forgot. And remembering is dangerous, beautiful, absolute. I smile because remembering is a weapon. I wield it in silence. In corners, in glimpses, one look, one pause, one choice that bends the rules they swore would hold me. Power is not shouted, it is felt, it is sensed. It resides in the subtle shift of gravity. Around you, in the trembling of those who thought they stood above you. They feel it before they understand it. And they will never forgive themselves for it. Do you feel the pull? That quiet surge deep in your chest, crawling like lightning along your spine? That's the memory of your own strength. The reminder that you have been underestimated, that you have been dismissed, that every small, cruel act the world performed against you only sharpened your edge. And edges cut, my friend. Oh, how they cut. So remember, not for revenge, not for recognition, not for applause. Remember because it is yours, because it waits quietly, patiently, until the right moment arrives. And when it does, when you awaken that sleeping force, the world cannot contain it. And the city, the crowd, they will watch, they will tremble, and you will stand tall, knowing the truth they can never face. Power was always yours. You only had to take it back from yourself. Do you feel that weight on your shoulders? That invisible chain they never bothered to show you? That's not yours. Never was. It's borrowed, passed down, stuffed into your mind by voices too small to see the fire inside you. And yet, you carry it as if it were law, pathetic, beautiful, Tragic. I tore mine off piece by piece. Every rule they whispered. Every warning they painted in bright letters across my path. They told me I was too loud, too sharp, too reckless, too chaotic, too me. And I believed it for a while, until the laugh came back. The laugh that doesn't ask permission. The laugh that says, limits? Watch me. You see, inherited limits are like cages built from fear. Not yours. Never yours. And the moment you realize that, the moment you see the cracks, the bars bend, they twist, and suddenly the world that seemed so orderly, so safe, is just paper. Paper in flames. And the fire, that's your clarity. That's your truth. That's chaos, refined. They will try to anchor you. Subtle words, casual smiles, tiny gestures meant to remind you of who you were supposed to be. Ignore them. Smile back. Laugh softly. And do what they never dreamed of. Push past. Move past. Break past. Every inherited line they drew for you, you erase with a single stroke. And oh, how liberating it is. Feel it crawling in your veins? That rush of raw potential? That whisper in your skull telling you that every boundary you ever obeyed was a lie? That your hesitation, your fear, your restraint were handed to you like a gift wrapped in doubt? Tear it apart, burn the wrapping, consume the lie, and suddenly the world bends to the one who remembers their own edge? Limits are illusions. Rules are whispers. Chains are shadows. You are the first to see it, the first to feel it, and the first to act. The city, the crowd, the world, they cannot stop a mind that refuses its inherited cage. And you laugh, softly, quietly at first, then louder, because breaking the invisible is sweeter than anything they ever offered. Look at them, scurrying in their neat routines, clinging to the illusion of safety. They call it order. I call it fragile. Every brick they trust, every law they obey, teeters under the weight of a single clear thought. And clarity is the knife. I walk among them, invisible yet present. Every smile I wear, every glance I give, it twists their certainty. They sense it, that sharp, uncompromising vision they can't name. Strength is loud, clarity is quieter, sharper, deadlier. It doesn't roar, it whispers, and the walls crumble anyway. Do you know why they tremble when you see the world clearly? Because clarity exposes their cowardice, their hesitation, their compromises. Every compromise you swallowed whole. They fear you will digest and return tenfold. And the city, oh the city, it hates being seen. Not really. It hates being understood. I smile at their panic. A slow, deliberate curl of lips that says, you think you know, you don't. Their organized chaos, their controlled frenzy, their petty games, all dissolve in one glance that pierces beyond pretense. Clarity doesn't negotiate. Clarity doesn't bend. It shows the fault lines and waits for them to split. Can you feel it too? That hum beneath your skin, the realization that everything they call normal is just a mask? That the streets, the lights, the voices, the rules, none of it belongs to them. It belongs to whoever dares to see it, whoever dares to step past the fog, whoever dares to laugh while the city trembles. Strength is power. Strength is visible. But clarity is terror. It reminds them that the only real danger isn't what you take. It's what you understand, what you remember, what you refuse to unsee. And when that clarity hits, the crowd freezes, the city falters. And you are nothing and everything, all at once. Rules, they love them, don't they? Invisible fences stitched into their minds, chains they never notice. They call breaking them chaos. I call it rehearsal. Real rebellion, real power, doesn't live in destruction. It lives in creation, in rewriting the code while the world applauds the illusion of control. I don't just defy, I reconstruct. Every misstep they label dangerous, every choice they fear, I fold into my own architecture. A city of thought, built on edges they will never cross. And when they stumble into it, oh, the delight in their confusion. They can't read the blueprint. They never will. And that's where the fun begins. Do you see it? The laws they teach you, the boundaries they praise, they are not yours. They are borrowed, passed down to suppress the fire they hope you never ignite. And what happens when you light it anyway? When you take those fragments and craft something new, something sharper, something the world didn't know it needed to fear? The old rules die quietly. The new ones, they hum in the air. Subtle, persistent, unavoidable. People follow them without knowing why. They obey without realizing they obey. And the greatest thrill? Knowing you wrote the instructions for their own submission, while smiling all the way through. Every limit they insisted on, every law they tried to anchor in your mind, crumbles like dust. And in the rubble you see the outline of possibility, the shape of control, the architecture of influence. Building new rules isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It whispers. But oh, the echoes last forever. And here's the secret. They call it chaos. I call it clarity. They call it rebellion. I call it design. When you learn to write your own law, when you learn to shape your own world, the city bends, the crowd bends, and you are no longer a participant. You are the axis, the pulse, the storm. They never anticipated. Whoa, did you feel that? That hit different, right? The chaos, the fire, the truth, all inside you now. Yeah, I see you, feeling that power, that edge, that spark you thought was gone. Remember this, the city, the crowd, the world, they only react to what you decide to unleash. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Step up, rewrite your rules, and let them feel it. You're not ordinary, not even close. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Tell me how you're gonna flip your own world, who you're ready to shock, who you're ready to rise above. Let's light this feed up with your energy. I see you. I respect that grind, that hunger, that chaos inside. And hey, smash that like button. Share this video with the ones who need to wake up. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your mind sharp. Keep your fire burning, because this is only the beginning. Only the beginning.